CBS Sports presents the Geico Play of the Day.
In his first start since returning to Carolina, Cam Newton keeps the ball, takes it on the fake, 24 yards for the score. The Panthers quarterback gets by Washington defenders Cameron Curl and Bobby McCain, flies in for the score. Cam has the most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in NFL history. Queen City, glad to have him back.
Geico, you could save even more by bundling home and car insurance. This is the State Farm postgame show.
And hello, everyone, and welcome back to our New York studio and the State Farm postgame show. Coming up next, the stars of Lucas Oil head back to Knoxville for the first time in 2 years, just in time for a CBS Sports Spectacular, the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. That's next right here on CBS. But coming up now, the full house here with Boomer, Nate, Coach, and Phil. Folks, let's get you caught up on all of the action.
All right, here's your highlights. Baltimore Ravens in Chicago facing the Bears. Andy Dalton. All right, this is the fourth quarter now, 4th and 11, and he finds a wide-open Marquise Goodwin. 49 yards for the TD, two-point conversion, no good. Okay, how about this? Tyler Huntley making his first start because Lamar Jackson was a game-time decision to be out. He had Sammy Watkins make that get them near the end zone, and Devontae Freeman runs it in. That puts them up by 3. The Bears could not get close to scoring or kicking a field goal to tie it. And the Baltimore Ravens, despite having starters out, they win this game 16-13.
And Nate, in the process, improving to 7-3. After the game, it was our Tracy Wolfson catching up with Tyler Huntley.
Well, congratulations. What a wild one this was. And you get the call basically last minute to take over for Lamar Jackson, who is ill today. Can you even describe how you were feeling out there?
It's just an amazing feeling just to get to play a game, play an NFL game, play my first NFL start. It's all different. It's all different type of emotions going on right now. But LJ, boy, you already know it. Feel better, man. It's just a blessing to be here, though.
And then that final drive, 72 yards on 5 plays. Take us through your mentality, what was going through your mind there.
We were just trying to chew away. We had a couple seconds on the clock, had a good little amount on clock, so we were just chewing away. We knew we had to score to win this game, so we had to get down there.
Make sure to hold on to that game ball, okay?
Yeah, I in the jersey.
Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Let's stay in the AFC North to the Cleveland Browns. You're going to see Jarvis Landry right here take this play. It's going to be a pass back to Baker. The Baker is covered. The middle is open. Take the open middle, and he scores a touchdown from 16 yards out. And Nick Chubb will catch this right here out of the backfield from Baker Mayfield. Nick Chubb also added 22 carries, 130 yards. They beat the Detroit Lions 13-10. It wasn't pretty at times. 2 interceptions by Baker Mayfield. They played it in some bad weather as well up there, but they got the win, and again, stayed right there in the hunt.
You know, the amazing thing is you had 3 backup quarterbacks playing in those last 2 games. Yeah. And Andy Dalton obviously come off the bench for an injured Justin Fields. But, man, these 2 teams, the Browns and the Ravens, needed these wins. And it really doesn't matter. You know, when you're at the end of the year, week 17, you look back at these games, you're not really going to care how you won. The fact is you did win. And this young man right here, you know, just had a whale of a final drive to get his team in the end zone and just win the football game. I'll tell you, John Harbaugh has got to be really, really excited at the end of the game and in this locker room here. Let's take a look at this final drive here, Nate.
Yeah, let's take a look at Tyler Huntley, second-year undrafted quarterback out of Utah. And he sits in that pocket with confidence, hits his receiver on the sideline. He said he had some clock and we wanted to chew it up, getting rid of the ball, getting it out of his hands, into the hands of the playmakers. And this is one of the best plays, flushed out of the pocket, feeling the pressure. And he hits his wide receiver, Sammy Watkins, wide open on the sideline. And here, simple handoff to Sammy Watkins, to Devontae Freeman. So how about this, man? Tyler Huntley coming in. They had no Marquise Hollywood Brown. Their starting wide receiver down. Lamar Jackson down. And he comes in, doesn't play a perfect game, plays a good enough game to really, like you said, Phil, earn himself some more time in this league.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be in the league for a few years just off that performance. But what a good job. And the thing that doesn't show up in there, he took a beating.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, did he get hit by that Chicago Bears defense? But what a job to come off the bench, make those plays, especially down the end. And you're right, Nate, when you do that as a backup quarterback, it buys you time in the NFL.
And the Baltimore Ravens are in these games every week. We sit here and watch them. They come from behind. They don't flinch, and they get involved in these situations. I think it's a reflection of John Harbaugh, to be quite honest with you. He doesn't lose his composure. He kind of deals with the moment, stays in the now. The only thing I will say is the defense, I know you only gave up the points you gave up today, but man, I mean, the zero blitz, no disguise, end of the game, trying to hold them to a field goal. I just think they don't need to blitz as much as they do. We talked about in the pregame. They give up a lot of big plays and yards. And you're a running football team. So, play to the strength of that team and don't expose yourself to these big plays, which I think why they're behind a lot of these games.
Coach, live by the blitz, die by the blitz.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
There's a time and a place for everything. And I'm going to tell you right now, in the middle of the season, they're winning these close games, but you need to clean some of these things up if you want to move forward and be ready to go further in playoffs.
When I saw an all-out blitz and Tony Romo pointed it out, and it's 4th and 13th, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
No.
And by the way, Andy Dalton missed one earlier, almost the similar situation, and this one he finally does hit to Marquise Scott, a good one. But I mean, the fact is that man, you are just playing with fire.
Well, it doesn't match. When you're a football team, you want everything to, blend together. If you've got a running offense or whatever, you're trying to protect the defense, you do that. And so they run the ball really well. So why would you gamble so much on defense to give up the big plays? And we've seen the stats. They give up a lot of big pass plays.
And listen, I'm all for the blitz. I'm good. But there's situational football where times where you don't expose yourself. The risk is much greater than the reward.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, you're talking about a kicker that wouldn't even make it. Make the quarterback beat you. Don't make it easy, particularly a veteran quarterback like Andy Dalton, and you don't even try to hide it.
Well,
you spread it on.
They were expecting it, Bill. They knew it. They had a double move on. They blocked it up, so they knew. Wink Martindale, here it comes, and he
showed it to him. He was like, "Hey, guys, we're up in the there's no one in the middle of the field."
Hey, Andy, we're all coming right now.
Yeah, Andy's like,
you know what? Let me give the producer a little credit here, Bill, and get to the question as well. Drew mentioned that teams all deal with injuries.
Yes.
But Harbaugh, given the injuries that it had to the running backs preseason and stopped the practice, everybody's got it, but somebody steps up for Baltimore and they get it done for that mental toughness.
No excuses. That's John Harbaugh. No excuses. I don't want to hear about COVID. I don't want to hear about the people we lost. We'll have other people. Next guy out plays, and they do a good job of going out and getting players that fit their system.
Coach, you make a good point. Oftentimes as head coaches, they'll say to us, next guy up. And you can look in your team's eyes and have a feeling if they believe you or not. And you know that the Baltimore Ravens, they believe it, because ever since that first injury, the running backs going down early on in the season, every player has stepped up. And they step up as if they are the starting guy.
Well, Baltimore's been through a lot of wars. They're a hardened group. They've been in so many competitive games. It doesn't seem to phase them, situations, all that. I got to go to Cleveland real quick. Just watching the Cleveland Browns play Detroit today. I know the weather was bad and all that. They ran the football very well, but their drop-back passing game, it's borderline awful, right?
It's falling apart.
They can't drop back and make anything happen. It's kind of simple what they do, and under pressure, it doesn't work.
Hey, let me just ask the quarterback here. I'm loving Brother Huntley. He just said, I just got to play in an NFL game. I'm happy,
That's exactly how I felt my first game, and I was like so confused. But I walked off the field and we won, I think, and I was like, wow, this is pretty good. So, man, enjoy it, love it, and live it, man, and hopefully someday you have a chance to do it again.
All right, hey, there you got it, guys, being honest about it. We will step aside for a quick timeout. A lot more to come your way from here in New York as the post-game show will continue right after this.
You know I got what you need.
A big holiday weekend of college football coming your way on CBS beginning on Friday at noon with Boise State and number 19th ranked San Diego State. That'll be followed by Missouri matching up with number 21 Arkansas. Then on Saturday at 3:30, the SEC on CBS features number 2 Alabama and Auburn, adding yet another chapter to the Iron Bowl. It's all coming up this week on CBS as we welcome you back inside of Studio 43 in the State Farm postgame show, and we get back to the highlights.
Upset of the day, one win. Houston came in behind Tyrod Taylor's 2 rushing touchdowns. This one right here puts them up 19-0, and also a defense that took Ryan Tannehill. Now he's going to hit Dontrell Hilliard there from 4 yards out. He fumbles. The ball's recovered in the end zone by the Titans. That was a touchdown for the Titans, but Tannehill intercepted 4 times on the day. They had another fumble. 5 takeaways for the Houston Texans. That 1-win team goes to 2 wins, and the Tennessee Titans go to 8-3. Upset of the day. You can see it right there. And I'm telling you, the difference right there is the 5 turnovers of the Tennessee Titans. You don't win many games when you turn it over 5 times.
The great equalizer, as they say there. Coach, how about the Colts at the Bills? Oh, I'm sorry, JB.
Oh, no, you were good, Bowman. Hey, we'll listen to you finish out.
No, I was just going to say, for Ryan Tannehill to throw 4 interceptions in a game like this, and I know it was bad weather and everything else, but, man, this is a game that they need to win these games. If you want to remain number 1 seed in the AFC, you can't lose to, like, one of the worst teams in the NFL.
And as was mentioned, that was the upset of the day, and afterwards, it was a disappointed Mike Vrabel addressing the press.
It's frustrating. I don't know if, it's either you're frustrated or you're not. I'm never going to be. I'm just disappointed for everybody. For our football team, we put a lot into it every week. We try to turn the page and make sure that whether you win or whether you lose, figure out who you got, take care of the keys, understand the keys, try to coach them, teach them, and we just again got off to a bad start, turned the football over, and ran out of time.
You know what that shows you? It's a long season, right? And here come the Colts. The Colts on a day by Jonathan Taylor. He had 5 touchdowns. Here's one of the 5. It's a reception out of the backfield from Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz only threw the ball 20 times for 106 yards for that TD. But how about Jonathan Taylor today, guys? 32 attempts, 185 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. And this is the 5th touchdown. That's a franchise record in the game. They go on to win 41-15. They're 6-5. The Buffalo Bills fall to 6-4. And what a just an absolute dominant performance by Jonathan Taylor in that offensive line.
And they would have Phil say earlier, he's got biceps on the front and the back side of that arm. It was Jonathan Taylor after the game with our own Melanie Collins.
Well, Jonathan, congratulations on a dominant performance against the #1 defense in the NFL. 5 touchdowns for you on the day. How big were those holes the offensive line was creating for you?
Those holes were really big. The offensive line and we've prepared tremendously throughout this week. We knew it was going to be a tough challenge. I know I spoke to you the other day, and we had to accept that challenge. That's what we had to do coming into this game, and that was half of the battle.
And for you, 8 straight games with at least 100 yards from scrimmage and a rushing touchdown. What has been the key to this consistency for you?
I think it's been the communication between the offensive line and myself. Doesn't matter what defensive front they bring, what pressure, as long as we're all in communication and on the same page, we can accomplish anything.
And how about your defense? 3 interceptions on the day. What can you say about the impact they had on this one?
A lot of those guys were coming up to me talking about the game that I had today, but the one thing I could say was you guys kept giving it back to the offense. That's what they do. They create and generate turnovers, and we have to capitalize on them.
From 0-3 to 6-5, you guys host Tom Brady and the Buccaneers next week. Good luck, Jonathan. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, listen, Jonathan Taylor is a fantastic talent. We talked about in the pregame, we did an eye vision, and we talked about how they can open up those holes for him. But what he does, when he gets to that second level, he's not only physical, but he can run away from guys. And we also, listen, here's the plays, and I'm going to just show you. Keep it simple, right? We'll go dive down the middle, physical running style. You want to come up Tre'Davious White, then he's going to lower the boom on you. A slip route out of the backfield, catches it, puts the brakes on, cuts up, and once he gets hit, he's going to run through an arm tackle or 2 to fight his way into the end zone. And here it is. Don't overcomplicate things. If your running back is dominating, coach, you just hand the ball off to him. You don't have to outthink yourself, right?
Oh, no. Keep it simple. Stupid.
No questions that come out of this game, man. Who are the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, and we'll get to that. But listen, who was Jonathan Taylor? This was the graphic we showed in the pregame, and he was tied for 7th with Larry Johnson. We're talking most consecutive games with 100-plus scrimmage yards and a rush TD. It was LaDainian Tomlinson and Lydell Mitchell, who actually went to the same high school as Jonathan Taylor. That's Salem High School in New Jersey. So they're pumping out running backs. And here it is. Jonathan Taylor, 5 touchdowns on the day. And we have to start mentioning him with the MVPs.
You look at this, the offense, they turn it over 4 times. I go back to the same thing with Tennessee Titans, top team in the AFC. What do they do? Turn it over 5 times. Buffalo Bills, top team in the AFC East. turn over 4 times. You cannot turn the football over, particularly this time of year. And the defense, we said about the Buffalo Bills, the one team that they did not have any success against was who? The Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry had 140 yards earlier in the season, 3 touchdowns.
Right.
Who's the next best running back behind Derrick Henry? Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
So it kind of, you saw this potentially coming. And the only thing I say is you better get it fixed, because you know what? The New England Patriots like to run the football too.
Yeah.
And you still got 2 more games with them. So, I mean, I'm just saying that's an issue.
When you look at the Colts, I look back to last year's playoff game up there. They had a chance to win it many times, didn't get it done. I'm sure that was part of the sense of urgency for them, but they are a run football team. This offensive line is, I don't mean to put it this way, but they are a better run blocking team than they are pass protection. It's running first, play action, a lot of screens, and when they throw those play actions, it's always down the field. So Frank Reich, I'll give him a lot of credit. He's designed the offense really well for the talent, and it's worked out great.
You know what?
Making a great comeback.
Well, I was going to say, if there was one, I guess, criticism that you would say about Frank, it's that he's over-aggressive and he throws a lot. Well, let me tell you something. He doesn't throw that much.
Right.
I mean, he takes chances on 4th down, I'll tell you that, because he believes in his players. He believes in his quarterback. But he wants to run the ball first. Remember, he played all those years in Buffalo.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what he has to do in order to win in the playoffs. And at the end of the day, this team is now finding its stride. After getting off to a slow start, losing some games in the 4th quarter, they lost a bad one to the Ravens on Monday Night Football or Thursday, whatever it was. And Lamar Jackson had that great 4th quarter. Now, all of a sudden, they're finishing games, which is really shows you that they are improving as the season goes on.
I hope I'm not setting you up for a bad answer here. Throw a piece of paper at me if I did.
All right.
But Jonathan Taylor, also a track man like you, hurdler, he was saying that he was setting the defense up in order to be able to display that track speed that he has.
Yeah,
what
listen,
did he mean by
there's a lot of glide in that stride. You know, usually you have these bruising running backs that they have one style, they put their head down, they only can go north and south. When you have that type of speed along with that type of power, you can set up the defender in a way where you know he has an angle on you, but he's not going to be able to get to you. And what we see with Jonathan Taylor, when he gets to the next level, linebackers and DBs, he's running away from these guys. You know, Phil, we joked about the size of his arms. Looked like he has legs hanging out of his sleeves. But he has the speed where he can run with your fastest defender, which makes him really a dual threat.
He's fast, he makes quick cuts, and he can break tackles. I mean, what else would you want from a running back? He's turned into a star.
And how about the fact you have Houston, you have Buffalo, and you have Tennessee. These are 2 teams built for the outside and for the cold. Who comes in? Houston in a dome, Indianapolis in a dome, inclement weather. No problem. So you know what? We maybe overthink sometimes the weather and building a team around the weather.
Yeah.
We've heard Coach talk about this, but the loss for Tennessee today, possibly a good thing in terms of getting ready, because you don't want that to happen. No.
You know, Coach, you could talk about good losses. I've never heard of a good loss.
You know what? There's a life cycle to everything in the National Football League. I think I'm going to say, yeah, there's never any good losses. I mean, and it's, you know, those are issues that come up. But when you look at it, it's hard to sustain in this league. And they had 6 straight. And you look at the defense. And Ryan Tannehill, we talked about they're going to go as far as they go. But we talked about who's more important, Derrick Henry or Ryan Tannehill. But Ryan Tannehill is going to be the one that's going to have to sit there and make sure he makes those right decisions. And, you know, he didn't get it done today. Didn't have a lot of weapons also to work with today as well.
Coach, let me ask you something, because I got a good nugget from our researcher. Shout out to Brian Coyle. He said that all 3 losses that the Titans have, Jets, Texans, Cardinals. Wow. Okay? Now, these are all teams that didn't make the playoffs last year. We know that Cardinals, they're a good team this year.
Right.
Jets and Texans, one of the worst teams.
Right.
So those 3 teams that they lose to, what would you say to a squad that you know plays well when you're playing against top competition, but up against teams that are a little bit lesser than you played down?
Quit reading the papers. Quit reading the papers. I mean, right now, I think the National Football League, it's about sustainability. And it's about going out there and being consistent week in, week out. I'm okay. If you lose some games, you're going to have your reasons why. Turnovers. Mike can sit there and talk about the frustration. I can just tell you right now, Mike, you turn the football over 5 times. You're going to lose it.
Yeah.
I don't care who you're playing against, okay? But now what we got to do is go back to the fundamentals. I'm just saying, the life cycle in this league is hard. It's hard to sustain it over long periods of time. You got 17 games this year instead of 16 games. I'm okay right now to get the edge back. Like, get the edge. They lied 1-6 straight, and you're playing the Houston Texans. Well, it's hard to take it.
Taste a little blood in your mouth.
But here, look, they're playing the Houston Texans. No matter what Mike Rabel was going to do, he couldn't get them the sense of urgency because they know. And the Houston Texans came out and watched the game. They played with more energy, more passion, and the NFL is ridiculous. Come on. There's so many good players in the league right now that it's hard to separate, and games like this are going to happen. We've seen it all year long.
Coming back to you, instant update.
Instant update. How about this? Travis Kelce moments ago from 4 yards out takes a shotgun snap and then runs it up the middle. Man, they have more plays inside the 10, but they missed the extra point, which is all the way around the league. We're seeing a lot of misses. Dak Prescott 1 for 3, nothing going on there. But Travis Kelce inside the 10 makes the touchdown.
I just want to ask Coach, like, you know, who's reading the papers? There's nobody reading the papers.
Well, I guess it's papers. It's social media.
It's old school.
Bill, I read papers, but go ahead.
Don't take the details.
Go ahead, Coach. Twitter.
Listen to the message.
They used to send messages by pigeon when he was coaching.
Oh, man.
Bill,
I got you, Coach.
Bill, I'm with you. Boomer, Nate, Phil, we know they read everything else, including the stars. Hey, the State Farm postgame show continues after this.
Want to stay up to date? Just tell Siri, show me football standings.
All right, back with more highlights. Let's rock them.
Minnesota, here we go. Green Bay at Minnesota. Kirk Cousins underthrows Justin Jefferson. He comes back for it, and it's a touchdown from 23 yards out. The two-point conversion was good. On the very next play, Aaron Rodgers, 75-yard pass to Marquez Valdez-Scantling to tie the game up 31-31. And then to end the game, Aaron Rodgers falling back, makes great throws. In the game, Greg Joseph kicks the game winner as time expires, 29 yards out. Minnesota beats Green Bay 34-31. You look at the numbers here. Aaron Rodgers made a lot of terrific throws, 4 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins, under pressure, made big-time throws, too. 24-35, 341 yards. Wow, offensive day there at Minnesota.
All right, Saints at the Eagles. Eagles coach Nick Sirianni said something about planting seeds and fertilizing them. Well, I got to tell you something. Darius Slay, he's fertilizing. Look at him running down the sideline. He returns an interception for a touchdown against Trevor Siemian and the Saints. How about Jalen Hurts today, guys? 147 yards passing. But he was running all over the place today. And I got to believe that the game plan for the Saints defense was stop Jalen Hurts. Well, they didn't. He ran for 71 yards and 3 touchdowns as the Eagles go on the win, 40-29. The Eagles are 5-6. And the Saints dropped to 5-5. You talk about a team that's dropping. Right now, the Saints are one of those teams.
Darius Slay is looking like an all-pro cornerback. All right, so Washington football team, Panthers, Taylor Heineke, he finds scary Terry McLaurin. What a catch. 12-yard TD, scores tied at 14. All right, then it is DeAndre Carter with a sharp route in and out. Catches the ball. That's a 4-yard TD. Taylor Heineke had himself a day.
Yes.
16 for 22, 206, 3 TDs and 0 interceptions. I think it's about time we start thinking about him as the permanent starter for the Washington football team. All right, 49ers, Jags. Deebo Samuel, watch this. All right, you're going to get it from Garoppolo. Garoppolo's going to give it to Deebo Samuel, and then he's going to take off and run. I don't know if he plays running back, wide receiver, it doesn't matter. You give him the ball, he's going to make a play. You know who else makes plays? George Kittle. Good to see him in the end zone. That's a 1-yard TD. 49ers all over the Jags in this one. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't turn the ball over. Didn't need to do much. Had 2 TDs on 16 of 22 passing. But they win this one and win big, 30-10.
Instant update, Coach.
Yeah, you're going to see here Colt McCoy, a little shovel pass right there to Zach Ertz. And Arizona takes the early lead over Seattle in Seattle, 7-0.
Man, I want those shovel pass for a touchdown.
Why, Phil? Why? I'm so mad at that.
Why? Yeah. It just shouldn't count, you know, when you look at it.
I'll tell you one thing. When this NFC, man, things are tightening up. Like I was talking about, the Eagles are starting to ascend under Jalen Hurts.
Are they ever?
You know, it's not pretty. The passing game's not pretty, but, man, I'll tell you what, he is one competitive kid back there. He runs all around, all over the place. And you got to believe that a defense goes in with a game plan saying, we have to somehow keep this guy in the pocket, and they just can't do it.
Boomer, last year they played each other in Philadelphia, and he ran all over him down there. And I think, well, that's the one thing that won't happen today, and they still let him outside. And Jalen Hurts is running the way they're the way they're playing football. It's awesome.
They're running the football.
They're running it.
They're playing defense. I mean, it's the old style of football. And you know, and you sit there. Minnesota and Green Bay.
That was
It was one of the best games of the day to me. Back and forth. Kirk Cousins matching his bravery with Aaron Rodgers. Some of these throws they were making with people in their face was unbelievable.
Agreed.
I like that.
Yeah, blow for blow with Aaron Rodgers. Listen, Aaron Rodgers coming off of last week where I might chalk that up to a little bit of COVID fog. He just didn't look like himself, but he was sharp today. And Kirk Cousins, he didn't flinch. Blow for blow with Rodgers and making throw for throw. And shout out to Justin Jefferson, that young fella. Every time he touches the
He's
rock,
your
he makes
man.
a big play.
You love Justin.
I love Justin
It's
Jefferson.
amazing, though, Coach. I thought he would love Chicago and Baltimore today. But now all of a sudden he's telling us that he loves Green Bay and Minnesota. I can't figure it out.
Which means what, Boomer? He's going both sides here?
Yeah, I think he is. He's all over the place. One week it's a defensive specialist game. And I love the game and everything else. The next week, look at these quarterbacks throwing the ball back and forth.
But these guys, these quarterbacks are like you guys. They're tough. They're tough. You sat in there, you ran it. I mean, didn't run very fast or very far. But I love Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers stood in there today to these defenses with pressure in their face and threw dimes out there.
He sure did.
Time and time again. I'm telling you, they're leaders.
Early in my career, they spied me, okay?
Oh,
yeah, so take that.
Hold on, somebody from the stands watched you?
Don't you join. Don't you join. Hey, Taylor Heineke, I got to say this about before we go.
Hey,
he was out there giving it all the Cam Newton stuff. He knew he was playing against
And the reason for that,
because he's playing Cam, and he was also playing really, really well. And you said it, Boomer. He's earned a starting job in Washington.
Yes, he has.
He was on whose roster at one point?
Carolina's down there behind Cam Newton.
And let me see you make the move again.
How's that?
The
You like
State
that?
Farm post-game show will continue after this.
This is the State Farm post-game show.
And welcome back to Studio 43 and the State Farm post-game show. Thanksgiving Day, folks. The NFL on CBS feeds your football appetite with a fantastic matchup. That in Dallas between the Raiders and the Cowboys. Coverage begins right here, 4 o'clock Eastern with the NFL Today. Then next Sunday, an NFL slate full of important playoff implications, including the Titans and the Patriots in an AFC North showdown, Klaus, with the Steelers and the Bengals. A big Thanksgiving week coming your way on the NFL on CBS. Back to the highlights.
Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. Miami quarterback Tua Tagovailoa goes deep from Matt Collins, who catches it in stride and takes it the rest of the way. 65-yard touchdown, 14-7 Miami. Joe Flacco hits Elijah Moore on the slant. Moore sprints the rest of the way for the 62-yard touchdown and tied the game up at 14-all. Then Tua Tagovailoa looks left, then looks back to the middle and throws a dart to Myles Gaskin, who dives into the end zone. 21-14 Miami. They finish up 24-17. Tua Tagovailoa, nice solid day by him. 27-33, 273, 2 touchdowns and an interception.
Third straight win for the Dolphins. And whenever we see Jason sitting next to Boomer, that means what?
Trouble.
We got some NFL news.
Unfortunately, it usually means an injury update. Something to keep an eye on here, guys. Aaron Rodgers talked at length about his toe after this game and said it severely bothers him. Wow. He got stepped on early in the game. He's not going to practice for a while. He hopes to be better on the other side of the bye. But this is something that can obviously be aggravated as we move along. A couple other key injuries here. The one to watch short term here is Justin Fields. He had x-rays. He's got rib issues. They turn around and play on Thursday against the Lions. Not sure he's going to be there. And everything looks good for Kyler Murray on the other side of the bye. I'm told if that Arizona game was a playoff game today, he could have gone. Now they give him a full month, come out on the other side of the bye, be there for their playoff push.
So that was just straight NFL news that Jason was doing.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
I didn't have time to joke around.
Good. All right. We will step aside. The State Farm postgame show continues after this. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes and the future of supersonic flight in America. That'll be followed by new episodes of The Equalizer and NCIS Los Angeles, plus FBI International. That's all tonight on CBS. And certainly that which we've talked about today, the upset of the day, the Houston Texans knocking off the Tennessee Titans. Titans fall to 8-3, a huge loss for them. And after the game, it was Ryan Tannehill, who the guys focused on, about that loss.
Yeah, I talked to the guys, and they were good, and they supported me and had my back through everything. But at the end of the day, I expect better of myself and need to be better for this team.
Yeah, I've been in those shoes before, man. You don't get much sleep on a night like tonight if you throw 4 interceptions. But I will say, after watching all the games thus far in the early window, the big winner has to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because, you know, the Atlanta Falcons lost, the Saints lost, the Carolina Panthers lost. They play tomorrow night against the New York Giants. If they want to get their season back in order, it's a good way of doing it by winning tomorrow night. And I would also say that the Indianapolis Colts are coming on now. They've won 3 in a row, and they can run the ball, as Coach pointed out, against anybody in the NFL. When you do that on the road in Buffalo, that tells me that that team is ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, you mentioned the NFC. I'll flip it to the AFC. You know, the Titans and Bills, they both go down. So the big winner for me, the Kansas City Chiefs, who are up 9-3 right now over the Cowboys. Now, all of a sudden, they're in a position where they control their own destiny moving forward. And it's just huge losses for the Titans. But I'll say this, though. You know, they have the luxury of going 8-3 and being just fine with where they are.
Yes.
Coach, it's to your point. They started fast, so right now you don't have to panic.
And you know what? And getting a little bit of an edge right now. I'll tell you to the team, to me, that benefited too. The New England Patriots.
Oh,
New England Patriots out there, the hottest team of football, and you know that Bill's not going to let anybody think go to their head where they read their podcasts or whatever the social media is. They don't read papers. I get that.
Right.
But I'll say this. Right now, you have to navigate these waters right now. And right now, you got to get your football team. Don't overreact. Don't sit there and overthink it. I think right now for this, well, a lot of these teams right now, it's getting them ready for this last final.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, Tennessee losing, of course, that's a shock. But when you look at the Indianapolis Colts, they've been there all year. They're finally getting over the top. They can run the ball. They got a good defensive line. There's a lot of parts to really like about the Colts.
So it's all online for you nowadays, huh?
Social media, JB, all the way.
Hey, folks, we will step aside. We will be here when you join us on Thursday. Until then, enjoy the next set of games.